As we begin our meeting, our first item on the agenda is the consent agenda. The consent agenda is the means of expediting routine matters which come before the commission for approval. The consent portion of the agenda is approved by one non-debatable motion. If any commissioner wishes to remove an item from the consent portion of the agenda, that item becomes the first order of business on the regular agenda.
Chairman, seeing there's no objection, I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve the consent agenda, which consists of item I, approval of auditor approved claims for payment from April 19th, 2017 through May 2nd, 2017. Item B, approval of administrative adjustment for real property. Item C, approval of administrative adjustment for personal property. Item D, approval of application for settlement or deferment of property taxes for 4 properties. Item E, approval of the ratification of a matching grant for the Washington County Emergency Operation Plan. Item F, approval of the livestock show sponsorship. Item G, approval of the Kids Fishing Day and Special Needs Kids Fishing Day sponsorship. Item H, acknowledgement of publishing of notice of adoption of ordinance number 2017-1084-O, ordinance number 2017-1085-O, ordinance number 2017-1086-O, ordinance number 2017-1087-O, and ordinance number 2017-1088-O on Saturday, April 22nd, 2017.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. The motion passes. Item 1, consideration of purchase requests. Our own Mark Blanche.
We have 2 for today, Commissioners. The first one is for St. George Convention and Tourism Office, and it is for funding for Smithsonian exhibit, and it is for $12,000, and that is a budgeted item for them to do that. The next one we have is for the Sports and Recreation. This is a event funding for Red Desert Classic sponsorship for 2017, and that is the NCAA softball Division I tournament that they hold here. And that is also a budgeted item, and it is for $10,200.
Good. I'm kind of excited about the Smithsonian coming in September.
That is really a big deal, and this $12,000 is going to go into producing handbills and things that will advertise that. They'll be distributed from Bryce Canyon, I think almost as far south as Las Vegas, and make tourists and people who are in the area aware of what we've got going on, and then we need to do our part and make sure that we talk it up so that our residents know what an honor this is for the Smithsonian Institute to bring a traveling presentation to each of the states, and Washington County has been chosen to do that for the state of Utah.
My understanding is that it's a historical kind of a look at how people work, their tools, processes.
Yep, the way we work.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. At least for a history buff, it will be. Drive my kids out.
So I'd make a motion to approve the purchase request as outlined by purchasing agent Mark Blanche.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. The motion passes. Item 2, a presentation or discussion on the livestock show from our own Alan Gardner, former county commissioner.
I thought he was just here to check up on it.
Yeah, dual purpose.
He has the shirt. He has the blue shirt, so we could have just
Yeah.
put him right up.
You've upgraded a little since I left. Everybody wearing coats and ties. I mean, we had ties, but I was not a coat.
Well, today was elected official photo day, so we all had to dress up for that.
That's a good excuse. Anyway, I appreciate the opportunity to come report on the Dixie Junior Livestock Show. We just completed our 31st annual show. Maybe to give you just a little history, we started out at the Sun Bowl, not in the Sun Bowl, but up on top. They're just off first south there on the old gravel area, and just out in the open. After 2 or 3 years, we graduated and got a tent that we held the show underneath and also the sale, but the animals were still out in the open. Then we moved from there to the Burns Arena. We were there for 2 or 3 years, and we pretty well maxed that out with the growth that we'd had. Then that's the county finished the regional park out there, and we were able to take the show out there, and that's allowed us a considerable amount of growth to continue. And it was kind of some hot days and rainy days and everything else when we were out at the Sun Bowl. It was not always a fun time. But you know, and then we got out there. We had we have an awards dinner that we give everything to on Friday nights out there. We were in the building there where Gary's office is. We pretty well maxed that building out, and they were talking about an expansion, and that's when the county put the higher building out to the. But anyway, the livestock show contributed $10,000 back towards that building because we were using it as well, and that kind of kicked things over the top to get that building to happen. So we've been working together on that. But this last year we had over 250 animals entered. That's 4-H and FFA kids, high school age, and what I think they start 8 years old in 3rd grade to the youngest ones that can be there. So we've had a great show. We sold 248 animals. We started at 10 o'clock in the morning. We finished sometime after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, just selling straight through. We have 2 rings out there now, so while one ring's selling, they're bringing the animal into the next ring, and as quick as this animal's sold, they start selling this other one while this other one leaves and gets a new replacement. So we're really shoving them through, but it's been really good. And just to kind of give options for, you know, we have a lot of support from the buyers, and that's what keeps the show going. But if a person wants to come and buy meat for their freezer, we'd love to have them out there. We have 3 different options at the sale. One of them would be to buy it and have it harvested and prepared for your freezer. And we have packers out there, several packers that you can choose from. The other option is just to support an animal. So a packer would pay the market price for the animal, and then the person would pay the balance of what the animal sold for. And these animals sell for considerably more than the market price. Well, actually, the kids, you know, for a normal pig project, you're buying a wiener pig, you're paying top quality for your pig, and you're paying more for your pig when it's little than it's worth when it's fat, and that's without putting any feed or anything else into it. So, but we have people that go a long ways for their animals, and the other option would be scholarship, where you would pay the full price of the animal, you'd donate it back to the show, and it would be resold. And that money would go into our scholarship program. And we have animals that have sold numerous times, and we just keep donating back. And we've had them sell 8 to 10 times, some of them, but a lot of them are 3 or 4 times. But this year we gave 19 scholarships to high school kids that have graduated and have been in the show. They're $750 scholarships. Is what we used to do, 1,000, but our revenue shrunk just a little bit, so we're down at $750 for right now, and we appreciate the county's support and help in that. We had a really unique show this year in one sense. Several years ago, there were quadruplets born up in Enterprise to Randall Holt and his wife. Well, they are juniors this year. 2 sisters had lambs entered into the show. Another sister and the brother both had steers. Well, Joel, the brother, got grand champion steer. His sister Jolene got the reserve grand champion steer. So I gotta say, the chances are 1 in a billion of a set of quads winning grand and reserve champion steer at any show. So that was quite unique. But the grand champion steer sold for, if I can find my notes here, for $5,600 to Progressive Contract, either PCI, and they have bought grand champions there for a number of years. Some years they bought all 3 of them. The last 2 they bought the grand champion steer. The reserve steer went for $5,000 to IFA. They got their steers out of Idaho. The grand champion hog was Jeffrey Houston. It sold for $1,700 to Memorial C. That hog came from Nebraska. The reserve hog was Jay Salisbury, and this was his first year in the show, and he's about not much over 3 feet tall. So he started off, let's say it's going to be, the only way he can beat us is to give the grand champion now. So he started, his pig came from Oklahoma. So you can see that our people have reached out far and wide trying to get the best animals that they can get to exhibit. And then Jaden Peterson had the grand champion lamb, and that went to Knott's and Company. And Darren Holmes had the reserve champion lamb, and Boulevard Furniture bought that for $600. And I think both, I know Darren's lamb came from the Webbs, and I'm not sure where Peterson's got their lamb. I know a lot of the lambs are produced by Jay and Dave Gust and others. We have some really top show lambs around the area, so we don't have to go out of the country for them. But just like to thank the county for the support that you've been over the years. This is kind of in play. Most counties have livestock shows at their fair, and this is kind of in place of ours. I know we have the small animals. We've got the chickens and rabbits and that kind of stuff over there, which is really good for some of the kids that can do the smaller projects. But we pretty well fill up the indoor arena with the steers and the hogs and rings and so forth, and then the lambs are over in the horse barn. And so it's been good. But what's really been exciting to me is we started out 20 to 30 animals on our first, so nobody can remember exactly how many, but it was somewhere in that range. But a lot of these kids lived in Diamond Valley or out in the fields or somewhere like that, kind of a little more rural atmosphere. Why the people that moved out there, why some of the neighbor kids have come over and helped them with their project, and the next year, why they've got a project too. And so that's where we've seen the biggest share of our growth really is people that are removed 2 or 3 generations away from agriculture. So it's been a real benefit in that way. It's been really exciting for me. And I'd like to thank all the buyers, because that's really what makes this show successful is being able to, kids, a lot of them don't make a lot, some of them maybe go in the hole a little bit, but they make enough to break even and maybe put a little bit of change in their pockets. So it's been really great. Thank you.
No, thank you. And that is exciting, that keeping young people involved in agriculture. I'm convinced that, we talk about the family farm and farmland, and I think we're losing our farmers as much as we're losing anything. And so
Yeah.
something like this is fantastic to introduce people to agriculture and raise up some more farmers.
We really appreciate your support too, Commissioner, because I know you've been passionate about being involved in the Junior Livestock Show, and as long as I've known you, you've been right there advocating for it, and more often than not, hitting me up in my own business sponsorship. So thank you for all that you've done.
I think there's quite a few people when their phones start ringing this time of year, they go, oh no, it's somebody from the livestock. Anyway, I do appreciate the support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Item 3 is a presentation on the Kids Fishing Derby and Special Needs Kids Fishing Day. And I think I see the mayor, Rosenberg, here.
Wait, I think, but I think we should send the mayor home to get it.
You know, a judge threw me out of court once to go home and put pants on.
I think you're gonna have to create a very graphic image in your description. Do you have a computer there?
I don't have.
Okay, I can email it to you.
I did watch the video, it was wonderful, the one that you sent out.
Okay, good. The Southern Utah Anglers have been working with the DWR and the City of St. George, along with a bunch of private sponsors, including the county. For this year was our 21st annual Kids Fishing Derby. We started back in 1996 out to Mathis Park in a little teeny pond that you could cast past the other side. And we had just a lot of success. And so St. George City, we worked with them to get the Skyline Pond built up on top of the hill up by the water yard. We designed that pond, went and got habitat funding so that could be an urban fishery, and based on the success there, they incorporated design into the Tawa ponds out at the softball complex, Grandpa's Pond over to Hurricane, Razor Ridge in Washington. It's growing in popularity, the urban fishery. Cedar City has a beautiful complex up there now that they put into an urban fishery in. This year we have the Kids Fishing Derby, the annual derby, April 1st out to Tawa Ponds. It was pretty well attended Saturday, but we started following up a few years ago. We started involving the special needs kids from throughout the school district. And we have schools come down from as far away as Panguitch to participate in the fishing derby down here on Monday. They bus them down. We do it on a weekday so that the buses are available for the kids. It's easier for those kids to be able to get out there that day. This year we had over 700 kids and assistants. Each one of them typically has a helper or a parent, teacher. There were over 700 there on Monday. They braved the elements. Monday wasn't, the 3rd of April wasn't the prettiest day we've had. It was windy, it was cold, it rained. But those kids didn't leave. If you watch the video, it's a lot of fun. And I would encourage you, if you guys are available next year, we do it the first weekend in April. So typically that Monday following the first Saturday will always be the kids derby, or the special needs kids derby. It's we meet the kids at the bus, they get a hat or a prize. We feed them a hot dog during the day. Some of the kids think that's the greatest day to just come and eat hot dogs. We had one little boy, I don't know if he fished at all, but he ate 9 hot dogs. But a lot of them caught fish. This year was a little tougher on the fishing. Just the elements, I think, just made it a little bit harder catching. Last year, it was really successful and caught a lot of fish, especially some bigger fish. The anglers, we buy fish from a hatchery up in Wayne County, and we bring some larger fish, some trophy class fish down, and put them in the pond on the Friday before the weekend. So the DWR helps stock the fish throughout the 9 months of the year. They start in November, and they'll stock fish until April in those ponds. Then we kind of try and catch them all out so that they don't summer kill when it gets real hot, and bring them back again in the fall. And then we buy trophy fish for the derby and try and get kids a chance to catch big fish. We've had some fish up to 8 pounds caught in the past, and it's kind of a shock for somebody to come out there that's been catching a 10 or 12 inch fish, and now they've got a monster. It doesn't have any fins or a tail to speak of, but it's still a monster fish, and they have a really good time with it. But we want to thank the commission for the donation this year. That donation goes right into prizes and right into fish. Our 2 biggest expenses are buying prizes that we give around away throughout the day, and then actually buying the trophy fish that goes in there, and helping a little bit out with the meal on Monday. But we've got sponsorship. We work with all of the hunting and fishing organizations in the county, SCI, Sportsmen's for Fish and Wildlife. We go up to Cedar City for those banquets. We have a fishing simulation machine. If you've gone to one of the banquets, you've probably seen us. Come over and try it one day. It's a great time for the kids, big screen TV, and a rod, and when the fish moves on the screen, the rod jerks out of your hand, and we've had the rod actually lift kids right up off the floor before if the drag's too tight and their dad's not holding on to them, but they won't let go of the rod. And so it's been a great time. We look forward to continuing it forward. Our membership is growing. So this year we had, how many helpers on Monday? Probably
50.
Yeah.
We had 50 dedicated hunters.
We had 50 dedicated hunters that came and helped during the program. DWR sent people down. Questar sent volunteers down. We're getting a lot more involvement from the community and from corporate sponsors, and so it's been really successful. I just want to say thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, for your help.
Watch the video. We'll be coming to you one of these days. We'll do a pond in the county.
Yeah.
Well, or make one a little nicer than the ones you got. You've got some pretty nice ponds.
I was
in the
gonna say, we
county.
have a Gunlock pond, we have a Baker pond, we've got.
Well, you know, we had talked about doing a pond down at Confluence, but the problem is you have the endangered fish right next door, and it's inevitable that somebody would throw a fish out of the fishing pond. Because it would be a perfect place for a fishery down there, but.
And we've run into that as we've tried to locate the neighborhood ponds just in St. George and Santa Clara. That you've got to be so far away from the streams and stuff like that, so it kind of limits you.
I have noticed a lot of turtles in the urban fisheries.
Oh,
Always
turtles,
surprised.
goldfish, whatever people don't want anymore, that's where they take them. Wish they wouldn't, but that's where they end up. And so we even caught a few of them this year in the Derby.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the koi puts up a pretty good fight if you get it to fire.
I do enjoy those urban fisheries. They're a fantastic addition in the communities.
But thank you guys.
Thank you.
Item 4, consideration of resolution 2017-1089-0, an ordinance for general health and prohibiting smoking in public areas of the regional park.
Mr. Chairman, I'd be happy to speak to this. This is a project the county's been working on for quite some period of time, and it had its genesis with a group of students, and with support from the health department and others, they brought this idea to the county commission. We had a public work meeting where we could talk about it, and it was very educational for me. I particularly like the input that we got from the health department that really categorizes smoking as one of the major public health issues that we face in the country today. And the other entity that I really learned a lot from was Dixie State University, and a lot of our ordinance is modeled after what Dixie State has done. They've gone to a smoke-free campus. And so this ordinance does make an allowance, as does the college ordinance, for smoking in a vehicle, and I felt that was probably good because of the unique nature of from time to time people will bring trailers and things like that and spend the night at the fairgrounds with some of those different activities that we do there. And it allows for a designated smoking area, which I felt might be appropriate for when the carnival and other workers are helping there, so that it's away from the public so that we don't have to breathe their smoke. And so I make a motion in support of ordinance number 2017-1089-0, an ordinance for the general health and prohibiting smoking in public areas of the regional park.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second.
It's been a good process.
Yeah, I do like the ordinance. I think it strikes a nice balance of what we're trying to accomplish out there. There was a little bit of concern about enforcing. You didn't want to put the staff in a situation where it was unenforceable. And anyway, this ordinance, I think, meets our.
But we also had involvement and input from the sheriff's office, and so I think that by going through this process, taking our time and being very thoughtful about it, we've got a very good ordinance.
Very good. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion passes. Item 5, consideration of resolution number 2017-1090-0, an ordinance amending the Washington County Procurement Code. And Susan, are you?
Sure. I'll appear for Kim today. He's not available, but just tell you a little bit. There's not a lot that changed, but this came about because if you look on page 23, that gives the definitions, and there's a definition for a purchase order that says it's a binding contract. So that's cool, but then when you get over to page 25, it starts to talk about, let's see if you go clear down to the bottom, that the department head or the authorized agent must first submit a purchase requisition to the purchasing agent, which would be Mark, and receive the correlating purchase order from the purchasing agent prior to purchase or solicitation of bids. And that kind of doesn't quite work if you've got the binding contract before solicitation of bids. So Mark brought that forward, that we kind of needed to reword that. Then Natalie spent some time and got rid of some things. I hope you noticed it was renumbered and a lot more clear. We felt like it was kind of more concise. We appreciate her help on that. And so if you have any other questions.
So it's interesting this came up because I've got some feedback from some of the other departments. The one question that did come up is, so right now, if it's under $300, that they can just kind of go to Home Depot and purchase it.
But the department head tells any employee, yep.
Yeah, so it's under the department head, correct? But they're saying the problem is that was, that $300 limit was set up years and years ago. And so they went to go like purchase even something as simple as a ladder. And they're hitting that ceiling very quickly, that $300. And so what are your thoughts on maybe raising it up to like $500?
Your discretion, that's, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay. I
Absolutely.
don't know, I mean, what's
Well,
your-
I totally agree. I'm the old dog here and was working for the county 26 years ago, and these limits have been around for an awfully long time. And Commissioner Enstrom, I think you bring up a very good point. And so on page 5 of the ordinance, that's page 25 in your packet, I would propose that we change paragraph number 1 to $500, and then paragraph 2 would be, and might need to be $499, and then paragraph 2, 500 to 2,500, and 3, paragraph 3, 2501 to 9999, and then I think the $10,000 limit is still very appropriate to come before the commission.
How much did you want that last, number 3?
Number 3 would be 2501 to 9,999.
No, that, where's the gap? Oh, yeah, they would have to change that one too. Yeah, yep. Sorry, I'm just making sure our attorney.
So it's under paragraph C, and then you got C1, C2, and C3.
I think that's good, because there's always that efficiency. By the time we send an employee to go to Home Depot, Lowe's, they've wasted like 3 hours rather than just buying.
Yeah, I think over the pair of decades that we've had the lower limits, the dollar has eroded, unfortunately. But I think this brings it back up much closer to the real purchasing power that we initially had when these first brackets were established.
I think those are good.
So we have that amendment, and then there was also some discussion about making sure that invoices were not split.
Is there a place where we could just put a sentence in there that for the purpose of meeting these dollar amounts to the greatest extent possible, invoices will not be split?
I believe that's under prohibited
Is that in
practices.
there?
Where's that at?
Go to page 31. And let's see, where is it? This one of these ones that were to be the prohibited practices was supposed to be that it was prohibited.
I see it.
to-
No contract or purchase shall be subdivided so as to avoid the requirements of this chapter. That
So
works
that's what
perfectly
we
for me.
would
I
do.
missed that sentence.
Is there any other
I don't.
changes? My understanding was this brings us into the state code. I mean,
Yes.
this helps bring county code in line with state code.
Yes, we needed the conflict of interest in there and compliance, of course, the auditors request that, so. that's already in there too.
So, Mr. Chairman, I will go ahead and make a motion that we approve ordinance number 2017-1090-0, an ordinance amending the Washington County Procurement Code that would include the amendments that Commissioner Cox made in regards to the amounts.
And I'll second.
Very good. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Item 6, consideration of resolution number R-2017-2182, a resolution appointing county members to the Hurricane Redevelopment Agency Entity Committee. Zach?
So, yeah, the Hurricane Redevelopment Agency is kind of functioning under hurricane. It's just a way to spur economic growth. And we have to have 2 commissioners on that committee, and so I nominated you 2 to do that. We don't have to read the whole thing, do we? Just the top part. So, okay, and so basically, you 2 would be appointed that, and it's a good way to, when we talk about tax dollars, to make sure that all parties get together and make sure that we're using those most efficiently. So, I will go ahead and make a motion that we approve approve resolution number R-2017-2182, resolution appointing county members to the Hurricane Redevelopment Agency Entity Committee, specifically Commissioner Cox and Commissioner Iverson.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Item 7, consideration of resolution R-2017-2183, resolution ratifying agreement between Washington County, the county, and County Services Support Incorporated for evaluating and advising on centrally assessed property tax values and appeals. And so this is an agreement basically through the Utah Association of Counties for counties to come together on centrally assessed. Now, centrally assessed taxes are the taxing entities that are very large in the state that cover multiple counties. Airlines, for example, SkyWest has multiple assets scattered around, and Rocky Mountain Power is also one. But we don't have a whole lot in our county. It's a fairly limited amount of centrally assessed property tax we collect. But this is just an agreement with them so that they can take in information from the Utah State Tax Commission and provide that back to the counties so that the counties can make a determination on when the entities appeal their values.
So this would basically be a coordinating entity so that if multi-county entities such as Rocky Mountain Power appeals their centrally assessed valuation, that impacts then multiple counties. This would be a forum for those counties to come together to coordinate and discuss the appeal and the merits of it. I recognize it had a very de minimis cost associated with it of $1,000. I think that would be a good move for the county, and I appreciate that we only have about 5% of our property tax is centrally assessed. And so when some of these large entities that have a really dominant presence in some of the smaller counties, they could really be adversely impacted by these challenges, much more so than Washington County. But I like how the Utah Association of Counties has taken a lead on figuring out how we can best deal cohesively with these types of valuation appeals.
I do have a question. Is the county services support agreement, is that, and it's not proper, is that UAC?
Yeah, that's an entity.
It's an entity,
Okay, that's what.
I think, that has been created separate and aside from UAC, with a lot of UAC input, involvement, and participation.
So who's auditing the books, or who's making sure, is that what you do as the UAC president?
Yeah, it comes through the UAC.
As long as I know that there's government funds being monitored by government, like I just don't, so I'm glad to hear that you're on that. So-
Yeah, it was set up because UAC's mission, in order not to expand the mission of UAC past what its original.
Okay, well, I'd make a motion in support of consideration of resolution R-2017-2183, a resolution ratifying the agreement between Washington County and County Services Support, Inc. for evaluating and advising on centrally assessed property tax values and appeals.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 8, consideration of resolution R-2017-2184, a resolution establishing Washington County's general fees and grandma fees for services of Washington County Records Management Archives Department. Natalie, gonna talk about grandma here?
I can. So Brian's the one that put this resolution together, and it's for our records department. When they get a grandma request for the records department, it just sets a fee schedule for what they charge for it. And under grandma, we're allowed to charge the minimum amount that it costs the county to pay an employee to fulfill the grandma requested. So that's the limit that we set it at for that. Specifically, it's for any of the grandma requests done just by the records department, which is under Kim's department, the clerk's office. If a department receives a grandma request, then they have their own fee schedule for that, separate than this one. So.
But I think in our previous meetings, people might have noticed a pattern that the county's establishing consistent fees and processes so that as people come in, they know what to expect.
Yeah, it makes it so it's across the board.
Yep.
So, Chairman, seeing that just in line with our other fees that we charge for grandma requests, I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number R-2017-2184, a resolution establishing Washington County general fees and grandma fees for services of the Washington County Recorder's Management and Archives Department.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion passes. Item 9, consideration of resolution R-2017-2185, a resolution approving a stipulated settlement in the matters of Sprint Corporation United Airlines. And Natalie, can you talk briefly about this?
I can talk briefly. I don't know all the ins and outs of the agreement, but these entities, both Sprint and United Airlines, have upheld their taxes. And so we've worked with them along with the other counties to come up with a new assessment. It basically, the Sprint Corporation valuation changes our tax that we charge them a difference of only $2,300. And for United Airlines, it comes down to the difference of about $27.90.
You know, I think this is actually good though, because this is another one of these centrally assessed valuations that we were just talking about, and determining how aircraft are valued. And I'm very appreciative that we've got issues like United in Washington County. I think it's great that we have an airport that has service now to multiple destinations. But by agreeing on a common standard that we will use for determining these valuations, I think it's going to make it easier going forward and simplify this process of coming up with fair and equitable assessments on some of these large properties. So I would make a motion in support of resolution R-2017-2185, a resolution approving a stipulated settlement in the matters of Sprint Corporation United Airlines.
Have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 10, Commissioners Report.
I certainly enjoyed hearing our former commissioners report on the Junior Livestock Show, but I don't have anything.
Did we do okay? We got a passing grade?
There's only 2 items that
You were well trained.
yes, trained by the best. May 13th, we're going to have a Give Your Lands the Hand public cleanup. It's going to be out past Bloomington on Navajo Drive, a little over 2 miles out right as you get into BLM. We're going to have a dumpster out there, and we're recruiting different service organizations to help us. This is kind of our kickoff county cleanup. Now, I will say this, we have some great citizens in this county because that place was really littered a few weeks ago, and there have been several cleanup projects out there. And so we had to take our cleanup a little farther out because it was too clean there for a couple miles. We had
That's
to-
called progress.
It is progress, and so, yeah, we had the Jeep organization been out there, they hauled off an old car and a bunch of stuff. They said they hauled off thousands and thousands of pounds of garbage, but we are gonna have this kickoff and cleanup, and looking forward to it. We're gonna do several of these over the year, and then we're gonna continue to encourage and facilitate other good citizen groups to get out and help clean up and pick up our land. We also have kind of a campaign involved that we've introduced here already. Some of you have been to the meeting that we had Kevin come and talk about our campaign. So we have that going, and I'm pretty excited about that.
Commissioner, I really am pleased with your leadership on this issue. You've taken the bull by the horns, and I think this idea of giving our lands a hand is a great thing that we could do, and you've come up with a superb title as well. So
Thank you.
I will be there on the 13th. I hope we'll have others who will join us.
That'll be fun. We'll have some good times, so. Well, with that, we'll get to our favorite motion. We'll stand in adjournment.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.